So today, this video is all about the one, the only Yaupon, Ilex vomitoria. And before I start, I have to honor and give thanks to the indigenous people who really made this knowledge possible, because this is a very sacred plant to them. So I give thanks for their knowledge and for their intimate connection with this plant, because without that connection, I would have never have known about Yaupon, and I would not be sharing this video with you. So this is the only caffeinated plant we have in North America, and we can really reduce our ecological footprint by connecting with this plant and drinking this plant for caffeine, and cut down on your green tea, imports, your black tea, and your coffee. Okay, because this is really where it's at. And today in this video, I'm going to show you how to identify this plant so you can find it. And I'm also going to teach you all the amazing benefits of this plant and why you should connect with it and where it grows. All right. So Yaupon is a southeast endemic species. So it occurs from Norfolk, Virginia, which is actually where I was born and raised. It occurs from Norfolk, Virginia, south down to Florida, and west into Texas. And so if you're within its range, you definitely want to get to know this plant, and you want to keep your eyes open for it. So Yaupon is a small tree to a shrub. And so Yaupon, Van, if you kind of show these ones, you can see how that's actually, and that one right there, look up there. That's actually Yaupon right there. So I typically see it more about this size. And actually I have some that I rescued that's growing in my garden, and I'm gonna keep it about this size because I wanna be able to forage it and work with the leaves, and I think it's really pretty. And you can actually buy this in the trade, but I think rescuing it from the wild is the way to go. Yaupon is in the holly family, which is Acifoliaceae. And that's why it has those beautiful red berries in the fall. In the winter, I'll include a picture of it. And it's our only caffeinated plant. So how do you identify this amazing caffeinated plant? Let's talk about that. And so one thing that I always pick up on with Yaupon, maybe you can zoom in, is that it has this light gray bark. You see how this is light? And you can even we can even come over here to the tree, but you can see how it's white, a lightish gray. Not white, but a light gray. Come over to this one that's covered in Japanese honeysuckle. See that? That's what I mean by kind of whitish bark. You see how that's kind of white? It's a light gray. I always pick up on that. I can kind of see it from afar. The other thing is it has these really glossy leaves. So they're glossy on the upper surface, and it's kind of a pale green on the lower surface. So the upper surface of the leaf and the lower surface of the leaf are different colors, okay? Look how cute that vennation is. Look at the vennation. It has pinnate vennation. So the veins are very obvious, but some of them circle back. They don't go all the way to the margin of the leaf. They circle back. See that? And this mid vein is prominent. Now look at the teeth. Look at the margin of the leaf. Look at the serration. Okay, it's always important to look at leaf morphology when you're keying out a plant. That is called crenate. The margin of the leaf is crenate. Let's look at another leaf. The leaf shape in botany we call elliptic. So if I put my finger in the middle of this leaf, it's widest at the middle of the leaf, and it tapers near the apex and near the base. All right, okay. So Yaupon grows on the outer coastal plain. The outer coastal plain from Norfolk, Virginia, south to Florida, and west to Texas, okay? And it occurs in this beautiful habitat, this marsh habitat. So here we are on a tidal marsh, and you can see Yaupon is growing all along here. And I think that its roots intertwine nicely with the live oak, because I see, like when I come down here, I can see the Yaupon roots all intertwined with the live oak. And so a lot of times you'll find Yaupon growing underneath live oak trees, which is Quercus virginiana. So I think they have like almost in a way this mutualistic relationship because they're always together, which is pretty cool. And also Yaupon grows on the in the maritime forest, which we'll walk in a little bit of. But you usually have the marsh habitat, and then you have the maritime forest. And it also grows in the sand dunes. It grows along almost every beach trail on Folly Beach, Isle of Palms, Sullivan's Island. So you can find it almost anywhere in Charleston, South Carolina. See all these beautiful bright green tips? This is what you would want to forage. And you could wait until about May or June to come out here and forage this, or if you knew where there was a really good stand of Yaupon, just make sure you're allowed to. But I always love foraging the new growth. And a lot of times I might get, you know, a little bit of this older growth, and it's okay. The newer growth, sorry, thank you, Yaupon. The newer growth is bright green and this older growth is a dark green, but that's okay. As long as what you have is predominantly a bright green, then that's good. And that's usually about what I forage, or the length of the stem that I forage for Yaupon. And then to make your own cup of tea, you want to get at least a handful, but you could get a basket full to make some tea. And so the second video, I'm going to show you how I make tea from the Yaupon we forage. A lot of students will be like, April, is this Yaupon? I'm like, oh, so close, it's privet. And so look, you see this privet? And I don't feel bad. Thank you, privet. But it's an invasive. All right, you see how these leaves, it's fine. Look, Yaupon's right beside it. Thank you, Yaupon. Are so close to the privet. Look at that. Okay, because these leaves are almost the same shape. They're elliptic. They're elliptic, but guess what? Do you see any differences? Look at the margin of the leaf, okay? Yaupon, which is on the right, is serrated, and this one on the left privet is not. So that's what you want to look for. The other thing is the leaves of Yaupon are leathery. In botany, we call this coriaceous. These leaves are very thin and papery. Look at that. See? Yaupon has a different texture and has a more thick, leathery leaf versus privet. And the other thing is these leaves are opposite of each other. So they come out opposite of each other, where these leaves are alternate. There's one and there's two. If it was opposite, a leaf would be coming out directly across from this leaf. Let's see if we have a good example. Here we go. This is a good one. Well, that one's not. That one's kind of sub-opposite. This one's opposite right here. Look right there. See? They're directly opposite of each other. Also, the flowering, okay? So Yaupon just finished flowering, and I'll share a picture. But privet has a terminal inflorescence, okay? Yaupon does not have an inflorescence. The flowers occur solitary on this branch, where privet does. So all the flowers are grouped together along the stem, and this is what we call a panicle. And it is just now flowering, where Yaupon just finished flowering. So Yaupon was flowering the end of March, beginning of April. This one starts kind of at the end of April into May. But they both have white flowers, just to make it a little bit more confusing. And they both have 4 petals. So they look a lot alike, but I'm here to tell you that you want this guy growing in your garden and not this guy. So we don't want privet.
Now I want to teach you some of the health benefits of Yaupon. So I'll never forget the first time I had a cup of Yaupon tea. I felt amazing, and I thought, why are more people not drinking this? Anyhow, Yaupon is loaded with antioxidants, saponins, vitamins, and minerals. And the saponins are plant phytochemicals that protect the plant from pathogens. And when we ingest Yaupon tea, we ingest the saponins, and this helps to protect our body from pathogens. Also, research has shown that Yaupon is anti-cancer against colon and respiratory types of cancer. Yaupon is said to help regulate the weight. It's said to help lower blood cholesterol. And so you can see that Yaupon is this amazing plant, caffeinated plant that you should be drinking, and you'll also get some health benefits from it. One last thing about Yaupon you should know is it is mood enhancing. And who doesn't need that, right? It has theobromine in it, which is the same thing that's in dark chocolate. So the next video will be on how to make your own cup of Yaupon tea, because I really want you to be able to experience how amazing Yaupon is So if you live within its range, definitely give it a try. Try and go out and find it today. And then you can watch the next video and make your own tea. How cool is that? Hit subscribe if you enjoyed this. Peace.